Next up, we have Redux Genie. Now, I love this application because when we teach Redux in junior phase, we introduce that as a very simple library. And then when we actually teach them the code, we're like, well, here are 5 different files, and you need to edit every single one of them to add a simple feature to your new application. So the implementation of Redux doesn't really fit in with the idea of this very simple, small library. So without further ado, I'll let the engineers behind Redux Genie tell you all about it.
Hello, I'm Gregory. This is Nick, John, and Amy, and together we are Team Redux Genie. In development, Redux is an incredibly powerful tool for managing state in modern JavaScript applications. However, it also comes with significant pain points in regards to the amount of code that is required to set up and maintain a store instance. Consider that each additional action you add to an application store requires dozens of lines of code, often across multiple files. This increases the likelihood of overlooking a missing block of code or creating errors through typographical mistakes. And so together we created Redux Genie. Redux Genie is a command line interface tool for generating and managing your Redux store available on the NPM registry. Our package helps developers cut down on the time required to set up their application store by generating boilerplate code for Redux. Together with our companion web app, we are providing developers a tool to reduce the code required to initialize and maintain Redux applications. I'll let my teammate Nick explain more about our major features.
Thanks, Greg. So our friend Dane, the developer, wants to make a Redux application for aquatic bird lovers everywhere. Starting on our website, she can fill in a wealth of information, including model names, their properties and data types, whether or not she wants CRUD actions for those models or any other actions she might think of. She can even fill in information for Thunks, including their API endpoints. Ultimately, Dane is going to choose a folder structure for the store and then save the configuration file to the root directory of her project. Once she's saved it, she can run Genie generate from the command line to generate the store and output all the folders and files. Dani realized that she forgot to add swans. You can't have an aquatic bird website without swans, so she runs Genie add swans to add that model as well. Once she's done that, she can run Genie ls, and that'll display all of the folders and their files in the command line. Notice that in the store, each folder is separated by model name, with each model having a file for the action constants, the action types, and a reducer. The reducers are all combined together in a combined reducers file, and then ultimately output through store.js. All Dani needs to do is plug in the store and the root directory of her React app, and she's ready to go. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague John, who's going to explain what's going on beneath the hood of Redux Genie.
Thank you. Redux Genie was built entirely with Node.js, utilizing the NPM platform to expose a global Genie bash command to the user's system. Inspired by the declarative features of the Angular command line interface, as well as the Rails web framework, Redux Genie allows users to declare the total shape of the Redux store within a LAMP config file, generating the store code base by injecting variables into a series of string templates. After the store is initialized, the library writes and utilizes a custom LAMP lock file to record and track changes to the user's Redux store. When the store updates from the command line, the library does the current and previous configuration files, identifying and implementing the required code injections. As a command line tool, our application faced unique testing challenges. In order to rigorously verify the code created in each test case, we created test simulations that ran a series of shell calls, then utilized Mocha and Chai to verify the code created within each simulation. Amy will elaborate on our testing strategy.
Thank you, John. To have a comprehensive testing framework, we ran unit and integration tests to make sure that the output files and the templates that we created did not have any errors, and that the store would be instantly available out and usable outside of the box to use with the React front end. A major decision, and something we considered throughout the making of this project, was how much was boilerplate and how much was opinion. We wanted to create a minimalist boilerplate without impinging on user preference for setting up a Redux project. At the same time, we closely followed the guidelines of the Redux documentation that specified popular folder structures like ducks and rails, and how to write reducers, action constants, and action creators, etc. After we saw how sensitive YAML configuration files are in terms of syntax and spaces, we also decided to make the accompanying web app, which created the YAML files, preemptively guarding the user against any obscure errors occurring from the YAML file. Thank you for listening, and I hope you NPM install Redux Genie to have all your wishes come true. Thank you.
That is remarkable. I think with SQLese and this Redux Genie, we'll be out of a job.
We won't even have to teach code anymore.
That's right.
We'll be a full stack developer.
And again, it's a real focus on the user here. So not only is it an exceptionally easy to use command line interface, but they build a web application that builds your config file for you. And even on that web application, you have a step-by-step process guiding you what to click and what to do there. So yeah, a real focus on the user here. Yeah, it's a great build.
Not to mention getting on the NPM registry. That's a real mark of accomplishment among projects. I mean, that means it's an open source project that developers all around the world can use, contribute to, etc. I think the team behind Redux Genie is going to find that they have a lot of tasks on their hands just managing this project. Managing an open source project is its own sort of adventure.
I took a quick look last night at the NPM registry. They've already had, in the first 24 hours, several hundred downloads.
That's amazing.
So yeah, there will be a lot of work to be done to work on this project.
Yeah.
I guess we can say that this genie is going to grant a lot of wishes.
Hey.
And with that, on to the next project.